everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about Contagion and its brand new Warner Bros. 4K Blu-ray that just came out. So Contagion was originally released back in 2011. It is directed by Steven Soderbergh. This movie had a budget of about $60 million, but it ended up making $135 million at the box office, and at the time was a pretty big hit, but it just kind of came and went. And then when 2020 rolled around and the pandemic happened, this movie just grew in popularity because of the similarities in this film and to the 2020 pandemic, which just showed people how scientifically accurate this very film was. This film also had a stacked cast from top to bottom. It features Gwyneth Paltrow, Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Kate Winslet, Marion Cotillard, and the great Bryan Cranston, amongst many, many more actors. Jude Law pops up in this movie as well, just playing an absolute douchebag. And in the filmography of Steven Soderbergh, this one really does stand out. Steven Soderbergh has made a lot of movies. You know, he really got started with Sex, Lies, and Videotapes in the late 1980s. Then he became most known for films like Out of Sight, and the Ocean's trilogy really just shot him into superstardom. Then he made Logan Lucky, retired for a little while, then he came back again, started making some movies on iPhones, and he's still making films to this very day, and he puts them out a lot, almost one every single year. And Contagion was one of those movies that was very popular at the time, but nobody really thought too much about it. Then when the pandemic happened, and how accurate this film was, because this movie starts off with Gwyneth Paltrow's character, and I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't seen it, but if you don't want to know anything about this film, I would suggest skipping ahead to the 4K Blu-ray review, because I'm going to hit certain plot points, and there's a scene that's very early in this movie that I do want to talk about, but it does happen in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this film, so it's not quite a spoiler, but if you don't want to know what happens, because the first time I saw this, it absolutely shocked me, so if you do want to skip ahead, this is your warning. So in the very beginning of this film, we see Gwyneth Paltrow. She's about to board a plane. You know, she looks a little bit sweaty, she's a little bit sick. She goes back home. She's married to Matt Damon. Matt Damon has a daughter from her previous marriage. Gwyneth Paltrow has a son from her previous marriage, but she's just getting sicker and sicker and sicker until eventually she finally collapses. They take her to the hospital, and then she dies. And you know, we didn't get to see Gwyneth Paltrow's head in 7 in the box.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
But in this movie, they do actually make a fake head of her they're cutting open for the autopsy, so we did finally get to see the dead head of Gwyneth Paltrow in this movie. But the scene that's really shocking is Matt Damon being told that his wife, Gwyneth Paltrow, just died. And the acting by Matt Damon in this movie is phenomenal. First of all, we see him being told it, and he just can't wrap his head around the fact that she just died. The doctor says it to him, but he just does not take it in at all.
Unfortunately, she did die.
Right.
No, this is hard to accept.
Okay. So can I go talk to her?
And the guy's like, no, we did everything we could, and she didn't make it. And he's like, we were just talking. We just had pizza last night. Like, can you imagine if something like this happened to you? Like, you're just talking with somebody, and then all of a sudden, they just drop dead? You know, it would shock the hell out of you. Your system would just be shocked. And then right after that, her son ends up dying from the very same disease. So now not only is his wife dead, but his stepson is dead. And he has to right away jump right into caring about his daughter and making sure she's protected, because nobody knows what this disease is. It's very early, and this is when we send in the CDC. And this is where we get Lawrence Fishburne, Kate Winslet, and Marion Cotillard's characters, Bryan Cranston's character. And we get to see how they deal with this disease in the early form of it. They don't actually fully understand what this disease is, where it came from. So they have to just hit the ground running. They send people out all over the place to try and figure it out. At the very same time, we see people just getting sicker and sicker and dying. The way that this movie is shot and paced, that's one thing with Steven Soderbergh. It's just paced phenomenally. I mean, he does a lot of edits in this film, and the score itself matches it perfectly. And you are afraid the entire time you're watching this movie. This is scarier than most horror films, and especially now in 2024, it really does hit home. You're going to hear phrases that you remember hearing during the pandemic, and you really think like the pandemic took a lot from this movie. It's just incredible that they predicted so much in 2011, and that's because they really concentrated on making sure it was scientifically accurate. They had people on the set who worked for the CDC, who were talking about all of their protocols. So all those protocols we heard back in 2020 and 2021, you're going to hear it all in this movie. It would actually make you think that this film actually came out in 2020 or 2021 after the pandemic. No, this was actually almost predicting the future. So you're just petrified when you're watching this movie, because it'll almost give you PTSD. But then the movie itself is just so well made. The performances are all phenomenal. Nobody is trying to overact. Everything just feels real and natural. These feel like real people. It feels almost like a documentary. Everybody does such a great job in it. And of course, we're bringing in A-list actors like Lawrence Fishburne, Matt Damon, and Gwyneth Paltrow, all of which just know what they're doing. Even if I don't really love Gwyneth Paltrow, she's not one of my favorite actresses of all time, but she does a good job in this movie. Her story itself is actually told non-linearly and compared to everybody else's story in this film. Like I was saying earlier, you know, she dies within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the film, but we actually get to see her story play out and everything that happened before that, which led to her eventual death. We see that non-linearly while the rest of the story is moving forward, while we hit all the big plot points of an epidemic, a pandemic, human reaction to all that, and it all just felt so real. This movie is just shot so well. And again, it's edited just phenomenally. This is a fantastic film. It's very hard for me to actually find a flaw in the filmmaking of this movie. All I can say is that in the third act, when we start to kind of clean things up, it kind of becomes just slightly schmaltzy a little bit, which means, you know, we kind of want to put a little bit of a bow, maybe send people home happy. But then at the very end, the very last scene of this movie, I was completely wrong. They want to send you home scared as hell. But right before that final scene, I did kind of feel like, all right, you know, maybe we could have done something a little bit different here, something a little bit better with the screenplay. But it's just a very minor complaint because I do find that this movie is endlessly rewatchable. Like I said, it's absolutely petrifying and it is just so well made. If by chance you haven't seen Contagion, I think it's actually on Max, even if you don't want to watch this new 4K Blu-ray that we're going to talk about right now.
You want me to take a sample? Or?
Yeah, I want you to move away from the table.
Should I call someone?
Call everyone.
Alright, here's the Warner Brothers US release of Contagion on 4K Blu-ray, and man, this does feel very disappointing right out of the gate, mainly because of the cheap packaging. This is only a 1-disc set. It doesn't have a slipcover. There is no steelbook alternative. If you want this, this is what you get, and I gotta be honest, I don't love the artwork on it. I really wish they would have gone with the yellow and red and black that they went for with the previous releases. Instead, they tried to just zoom in on a mask, and I don't know, I just do not like the artwork on this one. Maybe, you know, your mileage may vary. Maybe you'll like this one a little bit more than me. But then when you come inside, like I said, just one disc. It did come with a digital code. And, you know, one plain black 4K Blu-ray disc. And then all of your extras, of course, are going to be on that 4K Blu-ray disc. And all those extras are previously released extras. And there really isn't much of them. There's only 3 of them. And none of them are actually looking back on the making of this film. They're all just really talking about what viruses are and how the actors kind of studied with scientists and with people at the CDC and how they were actually learning about their jobs. Like, we really see interviews with Kate Winslet and Lawrence Fishburne and what their acting process was, and I really did appreciate that. But all the extras, if you add them up, are about 25 minutes long. And like I was saying earlier, you know, this movie really kind of got revitalized when the pandemic happened, and it would have been really cool to have a new 2024 looking back on this film and how it really does share a lot of similarities with the real pandemic that we experienced. It would have been really cool to get new interviews with Steven Soderbergh and all of these actors, the producers. It would have just been really nice, but we didn't get any of that. They literally just recycled the 3 previous extras that we had. They didn't even try to give us anything new. And it's the same thing with the audio track. It's the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and it's a really, really good one. It really isn't that bad at all. The score to this movie is fantastic. Everything comes in crisp and clear. It was actually making great use of my rear speakers. It was actually mixed very, very, very well. I had almost no complaints about it. I understand why they reused the same audio track, but the problem is that they're charging $34 for this. So we get really cheap packaging. We get no new extras, no new audio, and people might say, well, all new releases come out now, they're about $35 if it's a new film. Now, the thing is, look at Paramount. When Paramount does catalog titles, you know, I don't knock them too much for how they price those, because even if they do give us one disc, sometimes they'll even throw in a Blu-ray disc if they have them lying around, like the previously released versions, like recently with Footloose. You know, they threw in the old Blu-ray because nobody was buying it because it was garbage, so they threw it in there. But they would also give you a really nice slipcover, maybe give you a steelbook alternative, and they'll charge like $20 to $25. That's fair, because you're not really giving us too much. You're just giving us a visual upgrade and new packaging. Now, Warner Brothers gave us cheap packaging, one 4K Blu-ray disc, all your extras are on that, previously released extras, no update to the audio. So what about the visuals? The visuals charging $34 better be absolutely stunning. And you know what? They are gorgeous. I mean, my God, the visuals are stunning on this disc. That's one thing they definitely did not cheap out on. It's a beautiful looking transfer. Now, it's not that old of a film, and the source material looks like it was in fantastic shape. It looks like they were just able to go in there, adjust everything perfectly. It's HDR10, no Dolby Vision because it's a Warner Brothers release, but it just, my God, jaw-dropping stunning. You know, this is where HDR10 shines. We're hitting deep blacks. It's very bright. Color is just incredible. This movie bounces between cool colored scenes, warm colored scenes. When we're in labs, you know, everything's kind of lit, very yellow. They're wearing orange suits, and all of that stuff just stands out to the eye. And then there's a very simple scene of Kate Winslet driving like a Chevy Malibu, just turning into a parking lot, and we see the snow on the ground. The sun's just coming up, and, you know, everything's kind of like blue and gray and white, and it all just looks beautiful. beautiful, very cool colored. You know, you could just bounce from that scene to a warm colored scene, and all of that just looks absolutely gorgeous. They did a phenomenal job on the visuals. The visuals handle the skin perfectly as well. There's a lot of close-ups. Nothing looks like it's out of focus. Nothing looks like it's focused softly. No, it all looks absolutely gorgeous. But there is an issue with the visuals. It's something that's not a big deal, but it will become like a shattered glass type of moment. So once I reveal it to you guys, it's going to be something that you're going to be looking for on the disc. And that's because before I actually got my copy of this, HD Movie Source, or people who I follow on the artist formerly known as Twitter, or X, whatever you guys want to call it now. But I was following them. They got Contagion on 4K. They were talking about ringing. And if you don't know what ringing is, I'm just going to read exactly what he said because I don't think I could describe it any better than him. He wrote, "If anyone picks up Contagion on 4K, let me know. If you see the heavy ringing at the top and bottom of the screen, you need a display that is capable of zero overscan. For example, on an LG OLED, it's called Just Scan. This might be turned on. However, I don't know if they were aware of this when they were mastering this movie. If they were aware of it, it means that they were not mastering the image at full resolution or aspect ratio." Now, what ringing is at the very top and bottom of the screen. In certain scenes, you're going to notice that there's like a white line. And it doesn't happen that often, and it's really only if you're looking for it. Now, I tested it on a couple different players. I tested it on my Xbox Series X, well, on this TV right behind me, which is an LG OLED C1. And it's more noticeable when you use the Series X than it was when I used my regular Sony 4K Blu-ray player. Now, when combined with my OLED C2, it became even less noticeable, but it is noticeable if you're looking for it. And it's not throughout the entire film. It's only going to be in certain scenes, so I kind of ran through it quickly on this TV to see what scenes it was in. I would say it's only probably noticeable in about 10% of the overall movie. And honestly, the regular viewer, the average viewer, they're not even going to notice this because it's very, 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 very minor. It's only taking up a very small part of the screen. But it's something that once you notice it, you're not going to be able to take your eyes off of it. I spent the first 10 minutes while I was watching the movie yesterday for the first time trying to look for it. And like I said, when I was watching it on my LG OLED C2 in my living room, it was a lot less noticeable. You know, I'm sitting further away from it. But then when I'm in here and I got my eye right on the screen looking at it, yeah, of course I'm going to find it because I'm looking for it. So I don't think it's a major issue, but it is something that I wanted to point out to you guys because like I said, once you notice it, you might not be able to take your eyes off of it. But if I'm being honest, I don't think it's a big deal at all, but I do want to point it out to you guys. And if you're not following HD Movie Source on the artist formerly known as Twitter, they do a great job when it comes to the technicals. You know, I don't like to go too deep into the technicals here on this channel, mainly because I want 4K Blu-rays and physical media in general to reach a wider audience. And also, everybody has a different setup. That's why I like to try and test the disc on multiple players and multiple types of TVs because, you know, some people watching this video might have a 41-inch LED TV that they got a PlayStation 4 hooked up to. I still want those people to buy physical media and support physical media just as much as the next person with an 85-inch LG C3 OLED TV with the best surround sound you can ever imagine. We want everybody to buy physical media. That's why I don't really dive into the full tech specs of a disc. You know, I give you guys like the basic information, but you know, we're not really talking about bit rates, mainly because, you know, the disc can handle that, but not everybody's system can handle that, if that makes sense. So I don't like to go too much into that. It's the same reason why I don't do screenshots, because screenshots can be very misleading. Everybody's TV looks different. Everybody's setup is different. So if I put a screenshot out for you guys, you're going to come back to me and be like, "John, that looks absolutely nothing like what my TV looks like." And of course it doesn't, because I took a screenshot from the highest quality and that's what I'm showing you. I'm showing you what it could look like if you had the best setup imaginable. So I don't like to use screenshots for that very reason. But I did think that this one tech thing was very important to point out because I do think it's something that you're going to notice. So overall, the visuals are great other than this one minor inconvenience, but I still cannot give this one a passing grade, mainly because of the price. If this was $20 to $25, I would say, you know what? You could probably go for it if you're a fan of the film. Otherwise, I would say wait for a sale. I think that the perfect sweet spot for this is the $15 range because it is a good disc. It has a good audio track on it. The extras are pretty much, for what they are good, but it's just, you know what? It's kind of a spit in the face for the people who do like extras that they put absolutely no effort into and they just kind of move the ones that were previously released. But they did a good job mastering the visuals. I just really wish that they would have gave us better packaging, and I would not be surprised if within the year, Walmart, Amazon has like an exclusive steelbook for Contagion on 4K Blu-ray, and that would have the more premium packaging. But the standard packaging with no slipcover that they released right here feels like a cheap cash grab from Warner Brothers, who's just becoming more known for cheap cash grabs and only caring about the bottom line and not caring about the customers. They struck again with this one, so I would definitely recommend waiting for a sale for this one. Do not buy it at full price. I feel like you're going to be very disappointed like I was. I mean, I'm glad I got to rewatch the film again. I always enjoy revisiting it. I think it's a great movie. One of Steven Soderbergh's best, but it should not be be $34, especially when the only thing that we're getting an upgrade to is the visuals. So overall, how would I rate this on a score of 1 to 10? Unfortunately, I have to give it a 5 out of 10 because I thought the visuals were fantastic, and the audio track, even if it is a recycled audio track, is still really good, but I cannot give a pass on those extras and the packaging that they gave us on this one. It is very disappointing, and that price really does drag that score down. So if you're watching this review in like a year or two and you're deciding, maybe I should pick this up, it's on sale right now for $9.99, perfect, pull the trigger on it. But if you don't see it on sale for that price, it's definitely not worth it. And that really does bother me because I really do like this film and I really think it deserved better. But anyway, guys, let's move on to the fun stuff. I've been away for a little while. That's why our digital code giveaway is being done today here on Wednesday. I asked you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions, and all you had to do was answer one of those questions in the comment section below. And as long as you did that, you come back to what is usually Monday's video, but it happens to be Wednesday's video this week. I put your name on a magic wheel. I spun that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names it landed on, they have their choice. The digital codes you've seen on your screen before you today. And I'm not going to waste any time this week. Let's spin this magic wheel and see who our 2 lucky winners are.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
Mr. Smelly Potato gonna remove you. Spit again.
Whoa, taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
And there you have it, Peter Flickinger and Mr. Smelly Potato. And they are this week's 2 lucky winners of the digital code giveaway. Congratulations, guys. You know how this works. Reach out to me at my email address, letstalkentmt@gmail.com. Just let me know which of the digital codes you want, and as long as the other winner doesn't take that code, it is all yours. And we also have our members giveaway this week, and that means if you are a channel member under the tiers of friends of the channel, producers tier, or the directors tier, doesn't really matter. We put your name on a magic wheel as well. We spin that bad boy, and if you are that lucky winner, you will have your choice of Waterworld on 4K Blu-ray, Thor Love and Thunder on 4K Blu-ray, Steelbook, or The Lost Boys on 4K Blu-ray. So let's spin that wheel right now.
Whoa, taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up.
All right, congratulations, James Cole. This is your first win, and thank you so much, buddy, for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. You're the same, so same thing with you. Reach out to me at letstalkentmt@gmail.com so I know where to send that. And if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to me at email, you could also direct message me on the artist formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and we'll get that all worked out. And if you do want to support this channel financially like the channel members, you can look for all the perks in the description below. And if you are a producer, we always do a shout out for you at the end of every single video, like John Doe Juggalo, Mr. Smelly Potato, and Jason Martin. Or if you're a director, you get a shout out at the end of the video, and we also put your name at the very beginning of the video, like Frank's Media and Reviews, who has a great YouTube channel. We're going to be working on a collaboration as well very soon. So make sure you head over to his channel as well and give him a subscribe and check out his videos. He's just a fantastic guy, and you will not be disappointed by him. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for me on another episode of Let's Talk. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn notifications on. And then after you're done doing all of that, we'll be seeing you around.